Doublets, the flip-flop-flip method. In a previous video, we talked about doublets, a word puzzle created by Lewis Carroll, best known today as the author of books like Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. Carroll was also a mathematics professor, and one of his great passions was creating puzzles. One of the most popular of those was the doublet. The doublet is a word puzzle that connects one word to another through a series of steps. Here are the rules. Given a pair of words, the object is to go from one word to the other in the smallest number of steps, changing one letter at a time, and only one letter, and using only real words. And by real words, we also mean no proper names allowed. So, for example, if you wanted to go from camp to fire, you would go camp, change the P into an E, which would make it came, change the M into an R, which would make it care, change the C into an F, which would make it fair, and then the A into an I, which would make it fire, from camp to fire. Now, in the previous video, we did a much more challenging doublet, changing man into ape. The original Lewis Carroll version was change ape to man, or actually evolve ape to man. The solution we came up with was man, ran, ram, rim, aim, arm, R, ape. Doublets are part of a large category of problems where you have to find a path from point to point to point. In the case of the doublets, the points are different words. Now, this type of problem is very common. You'll find it everywhere, from the identities you use when you're studying trigonometry to silly little party games like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. One notable feature of all of these types of problems is that they can be done forwards or backwards, or, as we'll get into in a moment, both. Let's take the example of man to ape. If we did that backwards, we'd start with ape, and then we'd use the same words, but in reverse order to get to man. Now, this leads us to what we're calling the flip-flop-flip method. This is a method for doing exceptionally difficult doublets, like another one that Lewis Carroll came up with, change grass green. This seems like it should be easy because we have the first two letters kind of given to us, but it turns out to be really difficult. So difficult that if we just started from the front and hacked away at it, we'd probably give up. But with this method, we're going to start at the front, come up with a couple of words, and then flip the problem over to the back, come up with a couple of words, then flip the problem over again. So it's at the front, couple more words, back, couple more words, front, couple more words. And after not too long, what you'll find is that one of the words on the left side will be a match with one of the words on the right side. Okay, let's give it a try here. So with grass, we get glass and brass. With green, greed and greet. Okay, and then flip it back over. I'll change glass to class, and I'll change brass to brash. Flip it over again. Change greed to breed. Change greet to great. Now, let's flip it over. I've got a few choices here, like, I guess maybe do something with brash, but I think, I don't know, it's easier to come up with words for class, at least for me. So, clasp or clash, and flip it over again. Kind of the same situation. I can't think of anything to do with great right off the bat. If I thought about it for a while, I probably could, but right now I don't see anywhere to go with this. So let's look at breed. We could have bread or bleed. Let's stop for a second and think about what we just said here. I had two possibilities in each one of those, but particularly with the second one, I was stumped with great. I couldn't think of anything to do. But because I had other words to pursue, other paths to pursue, Getting stuck was not a problem at all. It didn't slow me down at all. And that's really important. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Okay, so now I think we were at, from Clash, let's go to Flash, and then Flask, and then from Bleed, Blend, and Bland, and now this is starting to look good. I think we're really close to a solution. So let's look at these for a second. This is the point where we stop kind of just saying anything we can think of and really start looking at the problem. Okay, so we'll need probably to change the, maybe look at the S or the F. Okay, so for Flask and Bland, Flask and Bland, how about Flank? That's getting close. And for Bland, how about Blank? Okay, now we've got two words we can connect. Let's step back and see what the solution will be. And you'll notice we're not going to use anywhere near all the words we've written down here. But writing them down and pursuing all those kind of dead ends helped us get the right answer. So it's grass, glass, class, clash, flash, flask, flank, blank, bland, blend, bleed, breed, greed, green. All right, let's step back and think about the problem-solving aspect, because that's the purpose of this video series, to focus on the problem solving. Okay, 2 points I want you to take away from this. The first is a question of perspective, how we look at the problem. Do we look at it front on? Do we flip it over and look at it from the back? Is there some other angle we can look at it from? As long as we can see problems from different angles, we can have more chances to have ideas about how to solve the problems. And second, a question of momentum. We want to keep going. We want to be able to make progress with each step. We don't want to just sit there and get frustrated and not be able to think of anything to do. If we can combine these two, and they go together really naturally, if we get stuck, we turn a problem around, look at it a different way, and then we keep doing this until we can figure out another step, and we keep progressing and progressing and progressing. Once again, these techniques are not in any way limited to these little word puzzles. You can use them in math, you can use them in science, you can use them in life. As always, if you'd like some more of this stuff, drop by the blog, You Do the Math, K through Calculus, and let us know what you think.